Okay, let's work through our design philosophy on building this part. And of course, we're not going to worry about being exact dimensions. This is just the philosophy of how the part should probably be built, or one of the ways it could be built. Okay, I'm going to go to my profiler tool, and I'm going to select here, here, kind of make it come across, here, here. Let's make it come down. Let's make it come in here, and then close it out. That's our basic profile. Let's right click on this line, object, make it horizontal. There, we're looking good. And now I can come in with my elongated hole, and I'll just pick here, and I'm going to pick up this parallelism with this line here. There you go. Now we could add dimensions to this, but this is our basic shape. Let's get out of Sketcher, and now let's make a pad. I want to keep the axis at the top of this part, so I'm going to reverse direction. And I'm just going to pull it down fairly thick. There you go. Okay. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to make a mirror around that. There you go. Now we have half of the part done. Okay. Now we're ready to make our sweeping rib that comes out here to the right. Okay. One of the things I'd like to do here is go to my graphics properties, and I'm going to turn this blue, darker blue. Makes it easier to see the sketches when we're sketching with that in the background. Then we'll go to the sketch on this sketch plane. And here we're going to sketch the I-beam profile. And I'm going to select this centered rectangle, and I'm going to do something like this. I'll do another one down here. I'll pick up that, and then I'll do one down the middle. Now this is not at all to scale yet, but you'll see why. I find it easier if I draw them oversized than if I double click my little eraser icon and I can start erasing things. It makes it easier to pick bigger things than it is smaller things. Okay, here's my basic I-beam profile. Now I'm going to turn off my eraser, and I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller. And now that that's the size I want it, or close to the size I want it, I'm going to lock it in with a dimension. And then I'm going to move this one up to lock it in. Okay, and I'll lock its dimension in. Right there. Now if I move this up, it'll position itself just fine. There we go. This is my I-beam of what I would like. Something like that. Like to sweep that down some kind of a center line. So let's get out of Sketcher now. You'll have to make the dimensions all that perfect for yourself. Now I'm going to go to Sketcher and sketch on the center line plane. Oops, there we go. You can see my solid is out to the right, so I'm going to be sketching my center line out this way. I'm going to select my profiler, out straight, make a bit of an arc. Then it comes into a straight segment. I'll pick up my tangency. Oops. Do a little bit of a curve here, and then I'll make sure that I pick up my tangency here. Okay, and now I'll select this one, right click, object, make it horizontal. Now we'll kind of pull this out to be somewhat in position. Okay, there we go. Now let's make a distance on this one, just to kind of lock it in for now, and then let's move this around a little bit to get it looking a little more attractive. There we go. How's that? That's a pretty good center curve. Let's get out of Sketcher, and now let's sweep this profile down that center curve with the rib. We'll select this as the profile. That's the center curve, and we'll say OK. Okay, so now we're 2/3 of the way done. Now we just need to sketch our little profile on the end here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this sketch plane right here, the center sketch plane. Okay, and I'm immediately going to put an axis in here. Here's my axis, and I'm going to draw it here vertically. And then I'm going to constrain it back to this edge. Right click, coincident. Okay, now there's my axis. Now again, I'm going to draw a profile a little bit bigger than I need, simply because it's easier for me if it's bigger to pick the bigger pieces. Here we go. And double click. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is put some dimensions on between this curve and this edge, coincident, and put between this edge and this curve, coincident. You're getting the hang of it here. I'm not actually putting dimensions on. I'm pulling those dimensions or coincidences from the geometry that's already there. And then finally this one. Okay. Now this will actually need to be a dimension. So somewhere in your geometry, you're going to have to find out what this dimension is. Oops, let's do a dimension. There we go. That one to this one. And then also you're going to have to find out what this dimension is for this line here. Those two dimensions. Now if you get out of Sketcher that has an axis system in that sketch, we can simply do a shaft and say OK. And then we can pre-select this edge, and we can put a hole on this surface. It will go right to the center, and we'll simply say up to last and say OK. And that's the design philosophy for making this part.